Welcome everyone to Doga Yoga. Today we're doing a beautiful Energize class. So fun, fast flow and getting a little bit creative with our movement. So definitely just not a normal Vinyasa flow today. So we're going to start on our knees. Come here today. We're going to tuck our toes under and come into a seated position. So if this is too much for you, place your hands in front of you. You might like to be seated on a block. Find what works for you. We're going to lean back as much as we can so the tailbone and the crown of the head are even. And just breathe in. Feel the belly, the ribs, the collarbones expand for the shoulder blades melt down the back. And exhale, release. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale and exhale. Take your time here to still, to center, to focus and arrive, to the rise and fall of your breath. 2 more here. When you're ready, gently slide your hands down to your knees, touch the ground and walk yourself forward into a tabletop position. Come straight into our cat-cow, drop our belly, open up our chest into cow. And exhale, round out, chin to chest, navel to spine, cat. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Now you can continue with your cat-cows or you can come with me, taking barrel rolls, going with the chest, going one way, really getting into the ribs, all elements of the spine, and then the other way, just really working it out. We already come back to stillness and everyone just freestyle. So you might sway the hips side to side, you might wriggle into the shoulder blades, really find what works for you today to really get into this space. Wake up the body, energize the breath. Come into your tabletop, really push the crown of the head forward, shoulders, elbows, wrists aligned, knees and hips aligned. And when we're ready, we're going to kick the right heel up into the sky and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Send the leg long, the right leg long. Place the toes down and then just give you a nice calf stretch. So really push that back heel away. Push into the hands for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. When we're ready, we're going to pick up those toes, bring them over towards the left. Gaze goes around towards those back toes as well, pushing that right hip to the right for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And when we're ready, we're going to sweep it all the way around. We're going to come into a lunge, bring it to the outside of the right hands, sink the hips down into a lizard lunge for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Really push into the hands, send that foot back and come into your tabletop position. Give yourself a little wriggle, give yourself a little shake. And when we're ready, we're going to align the spine, shoulders, elbows, wrists, knees and hips. Kick the left foot high for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then place it down, lengthen it, push that back heel away, get into the calf for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pick it up, move it over towards the right. Gaze goes around towards those toes. Lean the hips towards the left for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then step it up into lizard lunge. Sink the hips down. You can untuck those back toes if you like. And breathe for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. one. Send the hips back, bring that foot back in line, come into our tabletop position. Take your time to align. Find length on our inhale and exhale. We're going to send the right heel high and pulse for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're going to bring this knee towards our right elbow. Hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to kick the right heel high and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. An optional extra. Send the left hand forward. You can hold it here or grab the foot. Curve the spine. Gaze goes high for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release. Align on your inhale. Exhale. Left heel goes up and pulse here. Kicking that heel high for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring the knee to the elbow and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to kick it high once more. Flex the toes. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right hand can go forward or wrap it around. Grab the toes. Open up the chest. Gaze goes forward for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Give yourself a little wriggle. Give yourself a shake. Roll forward and back. Tuck the toes under. Press into the hands and the hips high. Into downward facing dog. Chest comes towards the thighs. Shoulder blades melt down the back. And knees are as bent as they need to be. So you can walk the dog here. You can stay still. Just try and send that chest towards the thighs. Biceps squeeze in towards the ears. And just feel ourselves creating space and energy in the body. Breathing here, focusing on the breath. And when we're ready, plant the left foot down. We're going to lift this right heel high, kick the right heel towards the left buttocks, and really peel open the body here. Gaze can go towards that armpit to release. When we're ready, lengthen. We're going to step this foot through in between our hands. So get here however we can. Sink the back knee down into a lunge. To really open up the collarbones, smile. And just savor that sensation, really getting into that left hip flexor. When ready, hands come to the knees, rise on up into a crescent lunge. So lengthen here, we're all on that knee to start with, and sink. Lengthen and sink. Reach a little higher, sink and hold. We're going to send the left hand forward, the right hand back, open. Come back to center with control. Left and right. Back to center. Left and right, flowing with the breath. Back to center. Left and right. Back to center. So reach here a little bit more. You might take a little back bend. Place this left hand on the knee and revolve here, or you can get the left elbow on the knee, placing the right hand on the hips, or bring the hands to heart center, coming into a nice spinal twist. Finding length here wherever we are and revolving. Length and revolving. Breathing here, taking our time. And when we're ready, release the hands, frame the front foot. We're going to lift this back knee. We're going to step on up into a forward fold. So really take our time here. Release, point the tailbone towards the sky. You can shake, you can move. We're going to inhale, come on up to our halfway lift, push away, and fold. Then the knees roll on up. Super big arm circle up, overhead, fingertips touch, and back to heart center. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. When we're ready, big arm circle up, overhead, fingertips touch. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift, your version. And fold. We're going to bend the knees, plant the hands. Instead of going through our vinyasa, we're going to try and step or jump back straight into tabletop position. So use your toes to take the energy so the knees land slightly. So find your place here, wriggle, get moving, get a little bit primal. And when we're ready, we're going to send the hips high into our downward facing dog. 2 breaths, length, and soften, length, and soften. Push into the right foot, lift the left heel high, kick it open up here. Beautiful side body stretch. You can send that right heel to the ground if that feels good. Really getting into the inner thighs. When we're ready, straighten, get this foot through, in between our hand, however we can, lower that back knee down, open up. So just really find your place here into this lunge. Getting into that hip flexor. You can untuck the toes if that feels good for you. It's completely optional. And when we're ready, hands onto the knee. I want us to all guide ourselves up gently with control. Hands come above and sink. Now flow here. Reach, push into that front big toe. Reach higher, lift the hips a little higher, and then sink on down. Length and sink. Length and sink, length, and sink. So we're going to reach on our inhale and exhale, right hand forward, left hand goes back. Inhale and exhale. Feel the heat getting into the body. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. One more, reach high. And exhale, hold, and we're going to twist so we can place this right hand on the knee, the right elbow, or bring the hands to heart center. Option to have that left hand at the lower back as well, just to revolve. Do what you need to do to have a nice open revolution. Breathing here, taking our time. When we're ready, release. Hands frame the front foot, tuck those back toes under, lift that back knee up. Step on up into a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, and exhale, really fold and release. You might start to straighten the legs a little this time, rock side to side. This feels so good. We're actually going to place our hands on our hips and we're going to bend the left knee, straighten the right knee, and gaze goes towards the right shoulder. So we're going to swap. Bend the right knee, straighten the left knee, gaze goes towards the left. Really nice deep hamstring stretch. Breathe and swap. Breathe and swap. Take your time. You might be like, this is too much. Just go super gently. You might just fold forward, straightening and bending the knees itself. And we're ready to come back to center. Really let the crown of the head, just release. And when we're ready, inhale, come on up halfway lift, hands to the tops of the knees or the ground, and exhale, fold. Bend the knees, roll on up, super big arm circle up, overhead fingertips touch, and back to heart center. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. And our next inhale, take a big arm circle up, overhead fingertips touch. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift and fold. Bend the knees, plant the hands. Now we're going to jump back to that tabletop position. Use the toes as the kind of taking the pressure. So come back to the toes, lower down the knees. Come into a cat-cow in your own time. Get a little shake and a wriggle on. And then ready, tuck the toes and the hips high into downward facing dog. Length and soften. Length and soften. You might be able to lengthen the knees or lengthen the legs, squeeze the kneecaps and the heels further down. When we're ready, lift the left heel high to the sky, open it up once more. You can take your wild thing if that is available to you. When we're ready, roll straighten that leg, kick it to the sky. So if you're in your wild thing, come on out. We're going to get that foot in between our hand once more into a lunge. Now you can take a low lunge, lower that back knee down, or you can sweep yourself up into a high lunge. Length and sink, length, and sink, length, and sink, length, and sink. When we're ready, send this left hand back, the right hand forward, open ourselves up into our warrior two. So really sink here, really take our time, find our strength. And when we're ready, we're going to turn to the long edge of the mat, turn to our left, and we're going to come into our Skandasana. So right toes come to the side, left toes going down, hands come to heart center, and you can balance on the ground, find your version, squeeze that kneecap, flex the toes, and breathe. When you're ready, we're going to walk our way around the top edge of the mat, come into a low lunge this time, open up the chest. Lift that back knee, step on up and come into a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift and fold. Bend the knees, roll on up, super big arm circle up, overhead, fingertips touch and back to heart center, 2 breaths length. And soften. Length and soften. When we're ready, big arm circle, fingertips touch and fold. Halfway lift and fold. Bend the knees, come into tabletop your way. Come into cat-cow, really just get into the body or freestyle, any movements that feel good for you. Before you come up into your downward facing dog, 2 breaths length and soften. Length and soften. Press into the left or right foot, lift the left heel high, open it up. Take your wild thing if that feels good for you. You might lower that down, really reach towards the front of the room. And when we're ready, we're going to come back, lift those toes towards the sky, high, 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 and get that foot in between our hands. Come into our high lunge however we can, or we can take low lunge, reach and sink, reach and sink, reach and sink, open up. Now our right hand goes back, our left hand goes forward. Open ourselves up into our warrior two. Really have our legs strong. Find our place here. Gaze past those front fingertips. Really lean back, open up the chest. And we're going to take our hands to heart center. And we're going to point the left toes to the right. Come on down into our Skandasana in our own time. So really flex those right toes. Really open up. Hands can be on the ground. We can open up the arms here. We can just really get creative, play. And when we're ready, we're going to make our way into that lunge. I'm kind of off my mat here, but come into the lunge, low lunge on the mat. Just breathe. When we're ready, we're going to plant our hands, come back to plank. So hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower down, chaturanga. Come up into cobra or upward facing dog, the only vinyasa flow we're going to take for this class. And then make your way either into child or downward facing dog for 3 really big, beautiful breaths. Length and soften. Breathe and release. Wherever we are, take one more big breath and then all come into our tabletop position. So we're going to finish with some wrist stretches today. So try and turn our fingers towards our knees. So we might be sitting on our heels here, taking a lot of the weight, or we might be able to distribute the weight quite evenly. So shoulder blades down the back, shoulders, elbows, wrists all aligned. And we're not just putting all the weight into the wrists. We're pushing down through all 5 fingertips, all areas of the palm. So rock side to side gently. You might take circles, just really making sure that distribution of weight is really there. Breathing. And when we're ready, we're going to come back to center. Whew. A little bit of heat in the wrists. And we're going to come onto the tops of our palms, so turn on over. So if you haven't put weight into your heels, you might want to do it for this one because it can be quite intense. So push down your fingertips into the ground, nice straight spine still. And just take little circles one way or the other. This is great, especially if you're on a keyboard or texting all day. Really, really helps. So just really breathe through it. Notice the sensations that come up. Are they just uncomfortable or are they painful? If they're painful, back out. If they're uncomfortable, challenging, it's okay. Find your edge. Find where you are challenged but safe. And we're ready, come on back. Whew. We're going to sit back onto our feet. So you might sit on a block here. We're going to have the toenails touching the ground, sink the hips towards the heels. So slightly different to how we started class. We're going to interlace our fingers and take our wrists in circles, one way and then the other, just working out some of that energy we just built up there. Get it going. So nice. And when we're ready, we're going to release. Place the hands behind us, so fingertips face behind us, just touching the ground. We're going to squeeze the shoulder blades together, open up the chest. Now, tailbone can still connect with the heels, or option to lift it up off the ground here. Really curve and arch the back. And breathe. And already sink on down if we've got the hips up. Ooh. Come on into a beautiful, well-deserved child's pose. Bring the forehead towards the earth. Hands can be forward, or you can wrap them around, tapping the toes. Really just feeling that beautiful place of surrender wherever you are. So it can be an extended child's, prayer child, or full child. Find what works for you. And just experiment if you've never tried full child, if you've never wrapped the arms around towards the feet. Notice how that changes in your shoulders. Notice how it changes your breath. See if you can release anything, or maybe if you always take full child, maybe try extended or prayer. Notice the changes, the subtle differences in your body. Ready. We're going to send our hands forward. We're going to lift on up and just lay on down. Just relax on our front today. If this is uncomfortable for you, more than welcome to come lay on your back. But just really feel the breath connecting to the earth here with the rise and the fall. Feel it press into the earth, the whole body expand, and just feel the whole body melt as we let the air go. Relax any last tension in the shoulders and hips, the neck, the back. Just find that deeper sense of release. When you're ready, the arms out in front of you. Roll on over to a side that suits you, using your arm as a pillow. And just take in this sensation. Gently we'll make our way up into seated. We'll take one big arm circle all together, up overhead, fingertips touch, and back to heart center. Sending you lots of love and gratitude, beautiful yogis. Namaste.